Hello YouTube, this is AndrewTheRed. So in a previous video I mentioned that I was going to do a video of all my bookshelves before I tear them all down because I'm going to be moving soon. So that's going to be this video, including I'm going to show you some of my random bookcase objects that can decorate the bookcases, non-book objects. And also I'm going to be actually going through some of the stuff and getting rid of the books that I don't want or don't conceivably need. So I'll do that at the same time. So here's, I'll probably do a bookcase video. So here is the Shakespeare's at the top, science, philosophy, and business at the bottom, and economics. And here's literature. This is classic literature, the little one, the half shelf, half case, I guess. And here is politics, religions at the top, politics, some economics in the middle, some kind of opinion, cultural stuff. And at the bottom are some reference material, which you probably can't see very well right now. And then on the side case, there's all my education and psychology books. And then I've got two more bookcases that are in another room. So I'm going to start with Shakespeare at the top here. And I've got, so there's a couple. So there's a Coca-Cola light. And I've got this little African thing I can turn a light on here. There's a African, he's got like a drum, and there's another African. I guess I kind of got these from family members that went overseas, and they brought stuff back, and I kept them. And this one in particular I like because it's maybe hard to see, but it shows him with that's supposed to be a cell phone. And he's got a briefcase right there. It's supposed to say that has human nature really changed, or just our technology? And it's a little bit of a Hobbesian view of human nature, suggesting that the only reason that we're not primitive tribes or acting primitively is because we have institutions and laws that prevent that. But still, I think it's an interesting sentiment in terms of all the science in the world may not change our behavior. And so there's also, in humanities and social science, they are important too to changing our civilization and improving our civilization, not just technology. So I think that's an important, that's what I think of anyways. And then behind that you can't see very well, it's just a Dutch painting. But at the new place, I'll show you that on the wall. So anyways, oh, and there's, it is a candle of Alexander Keats's a kind of ale, an ale. It's a candle though. So here's Shakespeare. So here's histories of Shakespeare. I've actually never even opened those things. I don't know what they contain. I don't know if they're worth reading. So probably after this video I'll open them up and see. And if they're not worth reading and they're not very good histories, for history information, I'll probably just get rid of them. But here's the other stuff. Here's perhaps the more important stuff. So here's comedies of Shakespeare. I've only read a few of those for high school, which was a while ago, but nothing recent. I haven't read The Tempest, which I probably should, but I've read Merchant of Venice, so for high school. But some of these I've read recently. These are tragedies, which Shakespeare is known for mostly for. So Othello, obviously Hamlet and Romeo and Juliet I read in high school, but Othello I read probably a year ago. And it's very good. I recommend that. As I said in another video, but I'll say briefly here as well, the best way of reading Shakespeare is to watch, if there's a movie that's made of it or a play, watch that, like off of YouTube, for example, or get the movie. Watch the movie so you know the events that are occurring. And then read the play, because it's hard to read Shakespeare. And it's even harder when you don't know what's happening and you're trying to wrestle with the language. So if you watch a movie first, then you know what the events are. Then you can go back and read the play, and you can remember the movie, and you kind of know what's going on, and you can then focus on the good stuff of Shakespeare, so the use of language and and all that. That's what I recommend. But Othello, for its literary and for its what you can get out of reading Othello, is the impact of jealousy on the mind, the rot of the mind from jealousy. MacBeth is also very good, very short. It's also what you can get out of MacBeth what evil does to people, and especially Macbeth's wife. Lady Macbeth is the most evil character. I don't know, I can't say of all literature, but because I'm not that astute in literature, but she is a very evil character. So that's what I got out of Macbeth. So here's science. So I'll start over here with the history of science. I'm just going to comment on stuff that I've read and that are of interest, because if you see all my other videos, I've gone through every book I have. I've commented on them, so I'm not going to do that again. But I'll just comment on books I've read. So I've read Kuhn's book here, Structure of Scientific Revolutions. So Kuhn he presents a kind of philosophy of science. He talks about paradigms and that science moves in big bubbles, big changes, not gradually, but just big theories kind of take over, and then another big group of theories takes over. And he's also a constructivist in the sense of he doesn't believe we can get at the truth of anything, only that we can just create new theories and get closer to the truth. So theories simply are an overlay of a whole bunch of facts that we have. Theories are an attempt to understand facts, and the better the theory, the better they will understand and predict new facts. But Kuhn also talks about when scientific revolutions occur is when we have new technologies that give us new facts entirely that old theories do not understand and have no idea of approaching. And so when that occurs, when new technology gives us new kinds of facts, then a new revolution takes over, a new paradigm takes over to understand those new facts. There's Greek science in antiquity. There's some very ancient science. There's some up there too. History of science, some ancient ones. Some other ones there. There's science. More history of science. House of Wisdom. So you may know of the Dark Ages, and apparently it is Arab scholars that rediscovered Plato and Aristotle and brought back kind of that movement of the Greeks and the Romans. So that's an important historical fact. So here's some Carl Sagan. There's one there, and there's this Candle in the Dark one. So this is his saying that science is very important and is a candle in the dark versus religion being darkness. So science being very important to enlightening the mind, and religion as a stultifier of the mind. Here's some stuff on Hayek's on science. Here's a book. It's supposed to be kind of against the climate change stuff. I don't know how objective and academic the book is, but I don't have anything really on the climate change, and I do want to see what they have to say about it, so I will keep that. I find that the climate change stuff has a lot of nonsense, global warming stuff, and there's also already been all kinds of scandals associated with the global warming movement, all kinds of fraud, academic fraud, and you may have heard of Climategate. There's just all kinds of crap, so I think it deserves a lot of scrutiny. And what else we got here? Oh, I've read this book on Mars here. It's good. I read this a while ago, actually. I think back in my master's. It's a good book. It talks about that. I think it was written in the 90s. It basically says that we already have the technology to go to Mars with human beings. Why the hell haven't we done it yet? So that's what it's about. It's interesting. This little one here, or this whole shebang one I had for a university course in astronomy. There's Carl Sagan's Cosmos is supposed to be his most famous work and most interesting work. But he's got all kinds of other good stuff, like this one, Pale Blue Dot, of course, referring to the Earth. You should have a look at Carl Sagan's TV series. It's on YouTube. And he mentions that, I don't know when it was, maybe in the 80s, they actually sent a probe out just to, I think it's supposed to go to the next galaxy, and they put in it a record that was, like gold-plated record, and there's instructions on how to play it, and it's supposed to contain famous speeches, music from different cultures in the world, just kind of an introduction to the human race, that if there's another sentient species in the next galaxy, I guess the Andromeda Galaxy, I think that might be it. If there's another species out there and they get this, then they would learn about us. So that's interesting. You should have a look at that. This is actually an anvil. It's called a toy anvil, but it's real metal heavy and used for hammering small tools, but it's also kind of a neat bookshelf piece. And here's, of course, is it Mr. Ebert? Jeez, I don't remember. It's obviously a Muppet, but I got that a long time ago, but I still have it, and it's appropriate for the science shelf, right? Here is biology. So there's Darwin underneath here, Origin of Species, got nice big pictures and stuff. Voyage of the Beagle, and then some stuff on evolution. Another Carl Sagan book on evolution. Here is some Pinker books. Pinker is generally good. He's an evolutionary psychologist. I have read his Blank Slate, which is over my psychology section, actually, which is in my education case. That's a different video. What else? There's, of course, The Brain That Changes Itself is fairly popular. I think this one's archaeology. This one's archaeology. This one I was going to get rid of, this Steve Jones one. I remember when I first got it, and I remember saying in the video that I talk about it, that I was looking for a long time for Darwin's The Descent of Man. And this one is called, the subtitle is called The Descent of Men, and that's not. It's supposed to be, I think I remember hearing that the first few pages, the first few chapters were good, but after that it's terrible, so that's what I'm getting rid of. There's Dan Dennett on Darwin, how important Darwin's idea was. Another book on Darwin. I think that one's by that Michael guy, Michael Shermer. You might know who that is. There's, of course, Dawkins' Greatest Show on Earth. Brand new, found it in a used bookstore. It was $5, but it was brand new, so I thought that was worth it. There's a book on Darwin by Britannica Great Books. I read this one, Jastrow and Channeloom. It's pretty good. It's very dated, but it's got some nice drawings of ancient fish and stuff like that, and it's very well written, so it's not bad at all. Okay, that was science. Oh, there's a few more science actually here. I just don't have room for. This one I'm going to get rid of too. It's supposed to be on Isaac Asimov's solar system that he builds in his. It's not written by Isaac Asimov. It's written by a bunch of other authors. It's supposed to be on the solar system that he built through his novels, but I don't think that's worth anything. So here's a couple more. Here's another Carl Sagan book, and a book on Ptolemy, Copernicus, and Kepler. Obviously, astronomy and mathematics. And here's, of course, a good one that I was looking for a while and finally got. History of Astronomy. Okay, so I'll move these, and I'll get to philosophy.